Mikael, bruh. What did you do to Mikael? What is going on, y'all? We got to talk about this. So, happy Michael Day. Make sure you guys go out and watch the film, or at least watch it on Peacock or something. I don't want to sit here and be like, don't watch the film. Listen, we're going to talk about the film. We're going to talk about Halloween Ends. This is going to be like semi-spoilerish, but it's because of some of the stuff that happens. Is like you can't help but just say a little detail that kind of makes you wonder, like, wait, what the fuck happened? It's not making any sense. So in order for me to kind of make some sense, I'm gonna have to throw in some spoilers here and there. But listen, I still encourage you guys to watch the film for yourself, because I would love for you to be in the comment section and just really break down your thoughts and opinions on the film. Listen, we could sit here and talk about the writers and directors, McBride and everybody Green, and just paying homage. Look, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with all the conversation pieces about the passion and everything. But what comes down to it is that it's a Halloween film. It's Michael Myers. It's Michael and Laurie really trying to tie the knot. This is what we expect to see in the film. Some closure, some clarity, some gruesomeness, some really strong emotional connection going on between the two to where it really ends things, see a result, see something, right? And we get a portion of that, but we get it with some real bold changes. You know, this movie rests with just such I'm lost for words. And you know, although they're tying in history, they've also added things. For example, this new character named Corey Cunningham, and they just tied him into the story. And it just bugs me, because I'm gonna give you guys some examples. What this film did was sort of like what The Last of Us 2 did, the video game, if you guys played it, and just you guys know where I'm getting at with that, as well as like the recent Mortal Kombat film, where they introduced that new character, and it's like, yo, he kind of like took over the story, and kind of like we didn't need him in the movie. Not to say that we don't accept new characters, but in this particular film, this is the last Michael Myers film. And what happened in Halloween Kills, you was expecting to just see this broad of just emotional, just chaos and just things happen, and it wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. Let's talk about it. So of course they killed off every Halloween movie, and it's really from Halloween, the very first one, up until 2018 Kills and Ends. And I'm not a real fan of the last two. I thought they were okay, very low rating in my opinion. However, when Laurie starts just in the hospital, she starts describing Michael's, you know, self, and that he's not just complete human, he's just this force, this entity of strong. He's part of like the devil, he's evil, he's strong, and whenever he kills, he gets even stronger. Starts describing this whole thing about him. Listen, we knew Michael was a force to be reckoned with. However, the description of Michael just gets even ridiculous in that film. And then all of a sudden, I feel like he's an Apex Legends character, where he just has this ult ability and he kills everybody in sight. You know, he's crazy. He kills everybody in sight at the ending of Halloween Kills. And that's what threw me off. I didn't like the way that was put down, you know? And then all of a sudden Ends comes out, and it's like it was a contradiction. Like they retracted from that, you know? Let's break this down. So in the beginning of Halloween Ends, the movie starts with this new character, Corey Cunningham. He's basically a babysitter. He goes to this family's house. He's going to babysit a little kid. Things happen in the very beginning, which led to this kid getting killed. And all of a sudden, Corey Cunningham is now in jail for the next couple years. And basically, Halloween Ends takes place 4 years after Kills. This kid, Corey Cunningham, gets out of jail. The town looks down upon him. They call him a kid killer, all that other crazy stuff, right? You could think of. And basically, I keep saying the word basically, shit. Basic. You could tell just from his aura, you know, he's a great actor. You could tell you could read the emotion in his face. He looks lost. He seems awkward. He doesn't feel safe within himself. He feels indifferent, everything. He never came off like this kind of character that had mental illness or just had these things breaking down or going on. He came off like a dude who was just falsely accused or something like that, but the town still looks at him a certain way. Mind you, also during this film, Laurie Strode is narrating in basically a book that she's writing, and narrating just the life that's been going on between her and Michael and the whole town. She also describes how they just broke down Michael's house. So we all wonder now, where the fuck is Michael staying? All this other stuff. The film kind of kicks in with more of the perspective of that Corey Cunningham person, along with, you know, some scenes of Laurie Strode and Allison and just their relationship and stuff. And since it's been 4 years, the town is like, you know, slowly but surely moving like how humans move. And the bigger problem that I had with the previous Halloween movies was more like it came off like video game-ish. Like everybody now is seeking Michael Myers. Let's fucking kill him. And it's more so like, wasn't Michael the biggest threat that scared people in their homes and everything? Now all of a sudden the town is really with the shits. That threw me off. And to see this film now, everybody's more like human-like and just more like reserved with their stuff. But you could tell, and there's some instances where you can get that emotional connection with people and how they feel towards Michael in the city. But then you also have that one part or parts where you're just thrown off because the pacing in that movie is bad. In my opinion, the pacing and relationships built in that movie is terrible. Moving on, Corey Cunningham gets caught seen at this gas station. He was buying something, and these high school kids come fuck with him. I guess he refused to buy them booze. They start picking on him. They bullying him. Laurie Strode pulls up, but Corey Cunningham, I guess he gets very upset. He breaks his glass and he cuts his hand and everything like that. Laurie Strode defends him, and I guess they built like a little friendship from that point forward. She knows who he is. He knows who she is. And Laurie now wants to introduce him to her granddaughter, Allison. They meet, but that encounter was so awkward. It's almost like Allison threw herself on him after they met, because she purposely, because what Laurie did was she brought him to the hospital to get sewed up. Allison works at a hospital. They basically meet each other there. They're describing like, what's the situation? How did you get that? Blah, blah, blah. And then that connection starts. But the way Allison just freely like throws herself to like, yeah, you know, you can teach me. You want to like, it's just like, I didn't expect to see that. So now the focus of the movie becomes more so Corey and who he is as himself. Fast forward, and not to like, because again, I don't want to spoil every piece of detail, but I had to give you guys the gist of this. They end up going to a Halloween party. Corey ends up following up with Allison. She takes him, and they're having a bunch of fun, drinking, dancing. And then all of a sudden, Corey goes, grabs a drink, and he sees the woman who he was babysitting her child who had died. And she gets at him and calls him a killer, all that other stuff. And now it fucks with him, PTSD, trauma, all that stuff. You can see it from the character. And he ends up walking out that bar / lounge, whatever. And he gets into like an argument with Allison, whereas he walks off on her. No details said. Basically, you know, he basically says, look, you're the survivor and I'm looking like the child killer. So, and he walks away. As he walks off, he ends up over this bridge where these high school kids pull up on him and then fuck with him again. And they're like, oh yeah, you think you're funny, you know, whatever. And they fuck with him again. And then he tries to defend himself. It did not work out. They threw him over the bridge. He gets knocked out cold. And this is where I thought the film was going to start executing greatness. You see this homeless man. He's there just chilling. He's laying down. He's whatever. But you see Corey knocked out cold and he gets dragged off the scene. That's when I thought, Michael's here. It's up. He drags Corey into like this sewer, but you don't really see Michael until like the next morning. Corey wakes up. He starts wandering within. And then this is where shit just took a turn. I said, yeah, Mikael. He walks and Michael just grabs him from the throat, from the corner of within the sewers. And he's looking at Corey. And I don't know, and maybe somebody who's better at doing this than I am can break down what the hell happened when Michael turned his head, looks at him, and then like it did like a That's So Raven moment. They locked eyes, and then Corey's life flashed between his eyes, and like Michael got a glimpse of, oh, he's a killer too. Like you built a connection with him, and then he let him go. Corey then dips out the fucking sewers, and then the old man stops him and goes, he didn't kill you? He normally takes people in from time to time, and they never come out. He didn't kill you? You need to go back in there. You need to grab that mask, because I'm the real Michael. Like, it was bugging the fuck out. He pulls out a knife on him, and to defend himself, Corey then grabs the knife and basically stabs the guy a couple times back. He kills this homeless dude. Does that solidify now your psycho-ness? I didn't understand. Why did that lead to you believing now that you were a killer and whatever, validating that, like, what, did Michael validate you to be a killer too? It was very underwhelming. It wasn't as effective as I thought, or as I would predict or think that they thought it was going to be. But after that, he meets up with Allison later, apologizes, he sleeps with her. He tells her, hey, and before that, he tells her, he asks, did Michael ever let you go? Allison, no, my mom had to save me. And so I guess that scene, he looks at it like, But my thing is, it's the pacing. Corey was one way, and don't get me wrong, within a movie, you can change it. Scream does it, then, hey, baby, this and that. All of a sudden, that dude ends up being the killer at the end anyway. In this case, That wasn't the guy Corey's portrayal didn't come off like he was gonna be a serial killer or Michael at all, or try to like act like he was Michael. That's why it was so weird. You guys have to see the film for yourself to get like, when the fuck did he become this like emotional, like, no, I don't want to go, to like, yes, it's blood time. I didn't get it, bro. Like, that was poorly written. That was poorly written, and that's where they got ballsy with stuff. Now, one thing I can sit here and say I could appreciate, you know, them paying homage to the original film. Of course, you have instances where you see Laurie kind of wearing almost similar attire to what she wore back in 78, or you see certain like I guess scenes happen that kind of like reminds you of the original film. You're like, oh, that's kind of cool the way they played it out. And then all of a sudden when Corey has his presence, it gave Laurie like this dissatisfaction, like an uncomfortable feeling, because she saw how he looked and he was basically standing outside of her new home the same way Michael was standing back in 78, and that gave her that, oh my fucking goodness. And when she went outside and had a talk with him after, she was already now like, no, I don't trust him. He got the eyes of Michael. So now all of a sudden, the movie becomes about Corey and he got the eyes of Michael. And that's the problem I have with this film. This new character just came into a movie that's about to end a whole series, and you make him basically the face of it, but using Michael's aura, Michael is as a character's persona as a projection for this gentleman. And that shit just threw me completely off. And then Laurie Strode is just trying to beg Allison to not fuck with him no more, and all these other things. They get into it, whatever. And Corey ends up being basically the killer in this movie. Michael Myers probably bodied like 2, 3 people, 2.5 people. Corey was the one going crazy. And what threw me off was Corey's behavior changes so drastically that it looks it's unforgiving. It's so unrealistic. It's like, yo, it doesn't make sense. Then the relationship he has with Allison, all of a sudden, they end up at this little restaurant. Allison's ex-boyfriend starts fucking with her. He's like, yo, we said we're good. And then they exchange some words. And then she's like, you want to light the candle? Yeah, let's burn it. It's like they have like these weird encounters and weird dialogue. And I'm just like, why say that but nothing? Like, I didn't understand that. Like, it was just weird, y'all. Forgive me. Not trying to spoil too much, but then we gotta spoil some stuff. So that happens. And they ride off on a motorcycle, blah, blah. I guess he goes home and he ends up by himself. He goes back to where Michael is. And mind you, now Corey's character is evolving, but not at a comfortable pace. It's very, very awkward that all of a sudden we got this one side of him and never got an idea of like, yo, you know what? He might be weird. So the way they read it, again, written the story was kind of off. But he goes back to where Michael stays, and Allison's ex-boyfriend goes now, follows him and looking for him to whip his ass because he embarrassed him at the restaurant. He goes into the tunnel, the sewers, after Corey attempted to try to choke him, whatever. He laughs, goes to the sewers, and as he's looking for him in the sewers, I don't know how you didn't see Michael right there at the edge, but that he sees Corey, they get into like a little squabble, and then Michael grabs the gentleman up, and the gentleman fucking punches Michael to the floor. And this is where the movie took a turn. I understand it's 4 years, and please, people in the comments, stop trying to empathize and sympathize with these people. Like, yeah, but you gotta understand, Michael didn't eat for like 4 years, and like he don't have, that house was what brought him power, and that could be true. At the same token, that explanation in the movie was lost. Michael came off like he was hungry, like as if he had no energy, like he barely slept. I don't like how they portrayed Michael in this film. The guy pushes Michael, he hits Michael to the floor, and Michael's like holding his side like this, like, and Corey goes up to him and goes, get up, man, get up. And Corey fucks the dude up. He goes, get up, Michael, man, get up. Get up! You gotta get up! Like, and then Michael gets up, and all of a sudden he goes and grabs a knife, and all he's saying here, dun, 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 dun. So I'm like, I could forgive that. And then Michael goes, starts breathing. Corey holds him, and then he stabs the guy. Whatever, cool. But like, what is this, Michael? Are y'all the brothers of destruction? I'm confused. What that Michael is lost to me. What the hell is going on? The movie continues, but I don't want to spoil, like, so that y'all can get context. But Corey starts going on a rampage, going after everyone who disrespected him in the town, and he starts killing people who disrespected him or Allison. And Michael ends up being in one of the scenes with him, whereas he wears like this other kind of clown mask. He kills a doctor. And then the assistant goes, oh my God. And when she runs in the house to call the cops, Michael then appears and kills. And it's like, yo, what are y'all, fucking Undertaker and Kane? Like, like, yo, you guys, the Hardy brothers. Like, I didn't like that pair. I didn't like it. I didn't like that. Did that. You know, Busta Rhymes was able to fuck with Michael. And he looked at Michael like, yo, man, and then walked away free and cleared. Like, when we saw Michael had a different persona in some of these movies, I can see why people were rating him low. This movie did an all-time low with this one, and it gets worse. The killings in this movie was fucking great, phenomenal. I love the gruesomeness. I love it. We watched it in Dolby Cinema. It was fucking loud. It was rumbling off our seats. Everything was gruesome. And Corey's kills were phenomenal. He has a corrupted home. Things happen. You're gonna see. You know, he has an awkward home, but it still doesn't justify or make sense to why he's acting the way he's acting because it was so rushed. You wanted to bring this character in, it was so rushed. And I could have thought of 50 million different ways they could have written it, but then again, I'm not a professional director or writer, so I guess, or producer or whatever, so my point is invalid, doesn't matter. But I felt like whatever Michael had looked at him or whatever validated this man's killing or validated this man to be psycho, like, and it made Corey just accept that he is a killer. Like, you know, you really didn't really kill a kid, it wasn't your fault, but then all of a sudden you accepted that you are this killer. And then you go on a spree, and then towards the end, you know, Laurie's fighting this off, and again, they paid homage. They showed so many scenes. And one thing in particular, if you guys could remember from the trailer, remember when he opened up the door and you seen his fingers? You can kind of get an idea now, right? You can also, if you watch that movie, I feel like they cut that part off the movie, zoomed in, and changed up the scene, because that, you don't see that full scene. It looked like it was zoomed in, like they knew they fucked up or something. So I don't know, something. Just know that prior to that part, look at where it gets fucking, oh my God, I lost it. Like my face dropped. To get back on point, time passed, whatever. They were doing what they were doing. And now Corey then proceeds and goes, I need to go see Michael. He goes to the sewer and sees Michael. And if I'm missing any parts again, it's because I want you guys to see the film for yourself. You know, I don't want to explain everybody's kills. I just want you to guys get a gist that this film was more so about Corey, this new person, and how Michael's can influence people to kill. Like, it was so weird. And Corey proceeds back to the sewers, and Michael's just standing there. Like, who go? That's the problem I had, but I'll explain after. Corey goes to Michael and goes, I need this. And he's tussling with Michael Myers. He's tussling with Michael, Michael threw him on the floor. He throwing Michael on the floor. Then he gets on top of Michael and takes off his fucking mask, revealing a lot of his face from an angle, and walks off with it. Michael let that happen. That's a disrespect to the Halloween franchise, to Michael Myers. He punked Michael. He punked the fuck out of Michael. He wears the mask, he throws on coveralls, and he starts walking around trying to be Michael. And the shit that fucks you up is now all of a sudden he has Michael's cadence. Yo, what the hell is going on? He's killing like Michael. And I'm like, no way, bro. No fucking way. Towards the end, Laurie and him meet up again, whatever, blah, blah. They're going into it. And he goes, if I can't have her, nobody can, whatever. But he proceeds to try to kill himself, whatever. He hurt himself. And then, because Laurie shot him a couple times, that scene with the open door, it was actually him. She shot him, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to spoil it. More so, I don't want to spoil more of it. He ends up on the floor downstairs. Cool. They're standing over. She's standing over him. She walks away, and she notices the other door in the back of the house is open. Guess who shows up? Michael. Michael grabs the mask, puts it on, and as he proceeds to try to grab the knife, Corey then tussles with him and fights him and like whatever. But then Michael finally gets into his demon bag and then breaks his neck, and that's when him and Laurie squabble. I didn't want to tell you guys what happened right before that. You have to see the film. And it was such a good scene too. Like, I love that scene. I love their fight. I love everything. I just wish it was more of an upscale battle between them throughout the whole film. But throughout the film, I love Laurie's role in the film. She was narrating her story. She was typing it up. It was making sense. I love the character she portrayed in the film too. It made sense. She wanted a sense of just clarity. She wanted to be at peace, but she still suffered from a little bit of trauma. But she's also skilled, and she's not stupid because she knows Michael. But it just, even tying in her with Corey and being like, I know a killer when I see one. His character was so underwhelming because it was so rushed, and it just didn't affect me at all in the film in a good way. And after that, they fight and they kill him. They went in. they kill him. It's like, you know, it's up from there. I was just lost for words because I'm like, this is how we end Michael. We knew this was coming. But you did what like The Last of Us 2 did. Like, you killed off Joel and gave the story to someone completely different, where we thought it was going to be about Ellie at least. And although the game was great, that role was given to someone else without real context, and you try to tie him in. You forced it. And that's the part where I don't like. The cinematography was beautiful. The goriness was beautiful. I loved, and there was some comical moments too, and I loved it. But this wasn't the Michael Myers that we saw in Kills at all. This Michael we wasn't afraid of. I actually felt bad for him. I felt like my man's got jumped, and I wasn't there to help him. Like, we was all clapping when Michael finally got killed, because it's like, it's weird. We love Michael Myers, but we love the story that him and Laurie built, to where I'm like, yo, Laurie gotta kill him, yo. But it's like, I clapped because they brought back some people at the end, but then again, I was just like, by the way, I don't want to mention the cameos and stuff like that to spoil it, but just know at the end, you can see, yeah, Michael's dead, completely dead. And if they try to say otherwise, whatever, it's bullshit, he's dead. Now, it's like, I love the film, but I love Michael Myers, but I don't appreciate the portrayal of Michael in this film. They got some balls. They took it there. I can sit here and say, yo, I give it to them, but I don't like why you guys portrayed Michael like that and brought this character in to kind of validate who Michael is as this evil entity. Like, he can look you in the eyes and make you a killer. Where I would have appreciated this film more is if they would have portrayed Corey's character and brought in something else, like, for example, his interest of Michael, like him talking about Michael so much to Allison, or been like, yo, but like, he killed like so many people. Like, it shows so much interest. Then you would have gotten a sense of like, yo, this dude might be weird. But the way they jump cut the relationship and just the character and just his personality just jumped, and it just didn't make sense. Like, not that much time passed in that particular film to justify how he just switched. Because Michael looked at you, he gave you what? He got abilities? Like, he did that? No. This is your last film. This was the closure we got. And this was not the strongest within the film. I think this was probably worse than 2018 in Kills. I'm not gonna lie. This was probably worse than Seasons of the Witch. I'm just saying. Please let me know your thoughts. If you've seen this film, look, I don't care if you spoil it in the comments, man. Just let me know your thoughts. Please tell me I'm not bugging out. I know there's a lot of y'all, when you ask somebody, what's your favorite Call of Duty? And they'd be like Advanced Warfare. It's like, oh, you're not gonna appreciate Modern Warfare 2 or Call of Duty 4 or Black Ops 1 or 2. You played a game where it had all this bullshit in it, and then your opinion is basically biased. It's like this. Like, if you got into Halloween from Halloween 2018, you're not gonna know the Michael that we knew from 78 on. And I just hope you guys have an open mind, open perspective to know the relationship of them, because they even threw in a relationship between them of being related somehow with, you know what I'm saying, from, yeah, not whatever. And then the way it's just been panned out, just we forget that Laurie's daughter died, and there's really no actual emotional thing going on within that in this film. It's just a lot. It was just a lot. It was a lot. So with that being said, let me know your comments below. It's your boy 3MG. God bless it. I love you guys all. Peace.